Princess of Power.
Hello everyone, this is Mike Jenkins back with episode 8 of the She-Ra Princess of Power comprehensive review series. Today we are doing Glimmer, the guide that lights the way, the Princess of Bright Moon, the daughter of Queen Angella. Glimmer was released in the first wave of Princess of Power figures in 1985. The designer Justine Dancer initially created a character with a rose wand. This character eventually evolved into Angella and Glimmer. The rose wand evolved into Glimmer's Staff of Light. The one design that Justine drew had design elements that would be recognizable in both Glimmer and Angella. Notable are the rose staff that went on to become Glimmer's accessory, and the boots had details that obviously went on to become a part of Angella. Glimmer was likely in consideration to be a minion of Catra, but she was relegated to the Great Rebellion when test audiences determined that there couldn't be too many villains in the Princess of Power toy line. If there was blue in the character design, it was removed. Theoretically, on my part, I'm thinking because the silver used on Glimmer was so reflective, it's possible that samples sent to Filmation took on blue hues because of lighting and camera filters. Filmation proceeded with creating her toon design from the reference material. It's also possible that Glimmer simply had character designs that were sent on to Filmation that were blue and purple, and Filmation followed suit. Or Filmation could have received designs for Double Trouble, who had the blue and purple color scheme that Glimmer would eventually take on in the cartoon series. That one's a bit of a mystery. Glimmer's packaging labeled her the guide that lights the way. Her staff and tiara glow in the dark, which is the action feature of her lighting the way through the darkness. She is introduced in the mini-comic Disappearing Treasures and also appears in the mini-comic Across the Light Barrier, where a new character, Josh, is introduced as her potential boyfriend. With her being a prominent character, Glimmer appears in the She-Ra magazine's UK Comics, Lady Bird books, and Golden books. In the Lady Bird book Shadow Weaver's Magic Mirror, Adora and Glimmer have to contend with a sea of Glimmer clones. In the Golden book The Crooked Crown, Glimmer takes the throne of Bright Moon while Angella is away. Unwittingly, she puts on a crown planted by Catra. The crown causes Glimmer's head to swell to unbearable proportions. In the cartoon, Glimmer is voiced by Linda Gary. She appeared in 45 out of the 93 episodes of the She-Ra cartoon series. She is introduced in the first episode into Etheria, which is also the first part of the theatrical release, Secret of the Sword. She is the daughter of Queen Angella and King Micah, and is princess of the Kingdom of Bright Moon. Both of her parents go missing at different points in the war against the evil Horde. She is instrumental in forming the Great Rebellion after Bright Moon falls to the Horde and Angella disappears. Glimmer gives the position to Adora after Angella and Bright Moon are freed. Glimmer can be impetuous and brash, showing her youth. She has displayed crushes on Bo, Prince Adam, and Horde Corporal Romeo. Her powers are derived from her mother in the Moonstone. They include emitting light bursts, shooting energy rays, creating force fields, flight, teleportation, and invisibility. She limits the use of these powers because they drain her the more she uses them. Her power levels increase in proximity to Angella. Here is my vintage Glimmer action figure, or action fashion doll. As you can see, she is missing her tiara. Her tiara is one of the most missing, lost accessories in the Princess of Power line. You will often find Glimmer will have her staff, her dress, and her collar, but she's missing her tiara. So I did purchase this figure with a tiara, but unfortunately, moving from house to house, I eventually lost the tiara. Glimmer is notable in the toy line for having some voluminous hair. She's got some curls in her hair, which in the cartoon series, she doesn't have much curl, or her hair is pretty straight in the cartoon series. The only other character in the Princess of Power toy line that has curly hair like this is Sweet Bee. And it can be pretty interesting to maintain. She comes with her collar, which can detach, but I don't do that just to avoid wear and tear. But the collar is removable. The collar shoulder pads are removable. Her dress as well is removable, but I will not be removing that because of the whole wear and tear thing. And she has your typical articulation. So she's got the pivoting head, she's got the arms. Is it pretty stiff? She's got the waist articulation, and she's got leg articulation. Again, her staff does glow in the dark. I haven't tested the staff. I haven't tested to see if it actually does glow in the dark. So probably in post-edit, I'll go real quick and test that and put that in later. So that is Vintage Glimmer. Here we have Masters of the Universe Classics Glimmer, who was released in 2014. She's very faithful to the Filmation cartoon series. The Four Horsemen did do a great job of adding detail from the vintage toy to her design, and also added her staff, which is from the vintage toy line as well. I believe the marble that was given to her or sent with her in her packaging is also the Moonstone. I'm not 100% sure on the name of that accessory. So if anybody out there knows exactly what that marble is, chime in and let me know. Her staff does not have the glow-in-the-dark effect, but it is very faithful to the vintage toy version, and it's a very cool staff. It was never featured in the cartoon series. Again, I'm believing this marble is from the Moonstone, but we'll put that aside from now. The Moonstone is where Glimmer derives her powers, or her and her mother. Let's see. She has articulation in the head here, so she is able to pivot. Her hair is a hard plastic, so that makes it kind of difficult to pivot her head too much. Her elbows have the typical articulation. Her shoulders have articulation, bicep, and her hand wrist does swivel. And we do have the detail from the toy line there. She has waist articulation. She has the hip articulation, knee, and she's got ankle articulation. Not only can her ankle go back and up and down, it can go side to side for wide stances. Besides other figures that have come out, Glimmer is pretty tall. She actually stands taller than her mother and some other figures in the line, which has kind of irked some collectors. But I just consider it the grown version of Glimmer, and she gets her height from her father's side. So, to me, Glimmer is a great figure. Her staff is difficult to place in her hand sometimes. So that's one of the issues with the figure. But other than that, she's a great figure. Join me next time for episode 9, which is promising to be a doozy. Technically, Cowl is next, but I don't have the vintage Cowl action figure. So after Cowl comes She-Ra. So we will be reviewing the headpiece of the Princess of Power toy line herself, her variants, her effect on toy lines, her history. So join me for episode 9 next week. And until then, ta-ta for now.